Hi, again we are meeting in the second video of electrostatics. In our earlier class, we learnt about how the charges are developed on the bodies, how the charges are developed on insulators by means of electrification, and how the charges are developed on the conductors, that is conduction and induction. And there we talked about some amount of charge is developed on the body. So we talked about this charge. So this is a physical quantity and it carries units. So let us learn about the units here. The SI unit of charge is Coulomb. And it is also having CGS unit, that is ESU, electrostatic unit, and it is also called as stat Coulomb, symbolized as stat C. So these are the units. One is the SI unit, other one is the CGS unit, and the conversion for this is 1 Coulomb is 3 into 10 to the power of 9 stat Coulomb. So these are the units of the charge. And after learning this units of charge, let us learn about the properties of charge. Properties of charge. The first property is the charge is always associated with mass. Charge is associated with mass. Here you have to remember one thing. For the existing of the charge, mass should be there, and for the mass to exist, charge is not necessary. And the second one is the charge is quantized. This you know very well, as you have learned it in your 10th class. And if immediately after listening to this heading, charge is quantized, you just write it as Q is equal to plus or minus N. So there you might write it as like this. The charge is always quantized and the charge will be always in the integral multiples of E. So let us go with the 2 or 3 sentences related with this. Something interesting what you should know, and that is, in the nature, the smallest charge existing is the smallest charge in nature is the charge of electron. The charge of electron. And you know that the charge of electron is 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 Coulomb. Suppose if the bodies are getting charged, it is due to this transfer of electrons only. That means the body is getting positively charged, it is due to the electrons going away from the body. The electrons are going away, it will be like 1 electron, 2 electron, 3 electron, like this, not as 1.5 electron, 1 3/4 electron, like that. That means complete number is going out. So what is the amount of charge on that body now? It is Q is the charge because of the removal of the electrons plus, and the number is as 1, 2, 3. So let it be as N. And if it is because of the movement, because of the electrons, it will be, the charge will be equal to the charge of the electrons, that is E. So Q is equal to plus N. Suppose if the body is gaining the electrons, if it is gaining the charge, if it is gaining the electrons, that means the electrons will be gained as 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, not as 1.5 or 3, 3.5, like this. So now that is also the number. If it is gaining the electrons, the charge on that will be Q is equal to minus, and the number is as 1, 2, 3, 4, that is N, and it is E. So commonly we are writing it as Q is equal to plus or minus N. So that is the meaning of this quantization of the charge. That of the charge is quantized. And coming to the third property, the charge is conserved. And you know the mass, about the conservation of mass. You will be saying the mass is conserved. Mass cannot be destroyed. Similarly, the same thing is, there it is mass, here it is charge. We understand with a small example here. Here we will be taking glass rod and silk cloth. Before rubbing, this does not carry any charge. So the charge on it is 0. And before rubbing, the charge on it is 0. So the total charge is 0 plus 0, it is 0 before rubbing. After rubbing, this loses some electrons and gets some charge. So if it loses certain number of electrons, the charge will be in the form it will be plus Q. If it is getting the charge as plus Q, and here the charge will be minus Q. So what is the total charge now? It is plus Q minus Q, it is 0. That means after rubbing also, the total charge on this system, combination of the two body system, is 0. So here for a system, the total charge remains constant. And if the system is separated from the surroundings, we will be calling the system as the isolated system. So for an isolated system, the total charge remains constant. So that is the meaning of that. And this is the property, charge is conserved. And the next one is, the charge is invariant. The charge is invariant. The meaning of that is, the charge will not change as the speed of the particle changes. That means the particles will be, if the particles are in motion, with the change in the speed, the charge will not, the amount of charge on that particle will not change. So that we will be calling as the charge is invariant. These are the properties of the charge. Just to make a note of this, all these points, you can make it in your notes. You can pause the video or make it, or you can make a shot of it, and then later you can write down. Okay, now we came to know about some properties of charges and how the bodies are acquiring charges. Now, if the charges are there, the charges will interact with each other. So, how to find out the interaction between the charges? Here, the interaction means that if the charges are there, if we are seeing the positive and positive, they will attract each other. And if it is positive and negative, the positive and positive will repel. Similarly, negative and negative will repel. So here we are going to see the repulsive force between them, and here between them, attractive force between them. So this we will be calling as the interaction. If the interaction is taking place between them, now we have to find out how they will be interacting with each other. That means how much force will be exerted between them. So to find out that, a scientist named Charles Augustin de Coulomb discovered how the forces will interact by his torsion balance experiment. And in his experiment, he has taken spheres separated with a distance. And the size of the spheres he has taken is very small compared with the separation, that is distance between them. If the size is very small compared with the distance, then we will be calling the charges as the point charges. We will be calling the charges as the point charges. So he has conducted the experiments using these spheres, charged spheres, and here we will be calling them as the point charges. So from his experiments, some conclusions were drawn, and they are summarized as the Coulomb's law. So what does the Coulomb's law say? We call it as the statement, and Here we are going to take the point charges Q1 and Q2 separated by a distance r. Coulomb's law states that the force of repulsion or attraction between the two charges, point charges, and here we have to keep in mind that charges are at rest. So the force of attraction or repulsion between the two point charges at rest is directly proportional to the force between the two charges is directly proportional to the product of the charges Q1 and Q2, and the force is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Square of the distance between them. So combining these two, just in the form of a statement, the force acting between the two point charges at rest is directly proportional to the product of the charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. And if it is, if we can write like in an expression like this, and we can continue it like this, F proportion, combining these two, we get it as Q1 Q2 by r square, and F is equal to K Q1 Q2 by r square, where K is constant of proportionality. You call just to know this very well because you do the same thing in your mathematics. K is the constant of proportionality. So here, what is, on what factors this K value depend? K value depends on, so here the force is there, the charges are there, and the separation distance is there. This K value depends upon the units in which this force, charges, and the separation is expressed. Value depends upon units of F, Q1, Q2, and R. And along with this, one more thing is there, that is medium, or we can write as, make it as the property of the medium. The K value depends upon property of the medium in which the charges are placed. So depending upon these two, the K value is depending. Okay. So now here, so F is equal to K Q1 Q2 by r square. By using this, we can find out the magnitude of force between the charges. Now, what about this direction? Because force is a vector quantity, it will have in both magnitude and direction. Now, we talked about this magnitude, and we'll talk about this direction. The force will be always acting along the line joining the two forces. So the line joining the two charges. So now here are the two charges, and this is the line joining the two charges. The force will be always acting on along the line joining the two forces. Along the line joining the two forces. Suppose if the charges are like, they will be pushed away or the pushed apart. It means the force will be acting like this. If the charges are unlike, that means if one is positive, other one is negative, they will be pulled towards each other. So whatever it is, if they are like charges or unlike charges, the force will be acting along the line joining the two charges. So now the statement becomes combining the magnitude and the concept what we understood. Now it is the force between the two charges, the 2 point charges which are at rest, is directly proportional to the product of the charges and inversely proportional to square of the distance between them, and acts along the line joining the two charges. Okay, so now just take a shot of this, or you can make keep the video pass, or you can go of it. Okay, now we understood about the magnitude and direction. There when we are talking about K, then we are talking about one thing. The K value depends upon the medium, the property of the medium. That means medium certainly influences our K value. So here, so the K is the constant of proportionality, and this is also called as Coulomb's constant. So when we are talking about this K, we have to consider two cases. One is when the charges are present in free space, that means air or vacuum. And other than this, it may be a medium, any other medium other than this, any other medium. So first let us talk about when the charged particles are kept in a free space, air or vacuum. Suppose if the charged particles are point charges Q1, Q2 separated by a distance R, they are placed in air or vacuum. Now, write it as F is equal to K Q1 Q2 by R square, and K here is 1 by 4 pi epsilon. This is a Greek alphabet, that is epsilon, and here we are going to keep a 0 here, small 0, that is naught, epsilon naught. 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square. Here in this K is given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. So you got the doubt as what is this epsilon naught? Epsilon naught is nothing but it is the permittivity of free space. Permittivity of free space. Again, you will be getting doubt here. What is this permittivity? Permittivity, it is the property of a medium which permits electric field lines through it. That means the capability of the medium to permit electric field lines through it. What is that? The capability of the medium to permit the electric field lines through it is called as permittivity. So this is about this epsilon naught. Now we got the value here is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q and Q2 by R square. And here the value of this epsilon naught is 8.85 into 10 to the power of minus 12 Coulomb square Newton meter square. So this is the value of this epsilon naught, and if you substitute the value here, F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. If you substitute 8.85 10 power minus 12 Coulomb square Newton meter square, approximately you will get the value as 9 into 10 to the power of 9 Q1 Q2 by R square. You might have noticed one thing here. Epsilon naught value is in Coulomb, Newton and meter. All these are in SI system. So that means this value, this 9 into 10 to the power of 9 is the value of K in SI only. That means if you are doing a problem or if you are calculating the force between the 2 point charges in air or vacuum, you can replace the K value with 9 into 10 to the power of 9. So you got the value as F is equal to 9 into 10 to the power of 9 Q1 Q2 by R square. Okay. If not the air, the other case is it may be some other medium. The medium like oil, or maybe any gas like carbon dioxide, or maybe any other metal, or any other solid like mica, all these things. In these examples, you will also might have noticed one thing. This oil, carbon dioxide, mica, all these are insulators, insulating medium. The medium should be an insulating medium. So if the medium is like this, certainly if the medium changes, its capability of allowing electric field lines also changes. So according to that here, you can understand here, so this K value also changes according to that. So now if the medium is what you call it as some other thing like oil, carbon dioxide and something like this. So if it is, I can take this as F is equal, so K value will become here, K is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon, simply epsilon naught. Earlier we have mentioned it as epsilon naught in air or vacuum or free space. Now we will show it as the epsilon. So here their epsilon naught is permittivity of free space, and here epsilon naught is absolute permittivity. Epsilon naught is absolute permittivity or simply permittivity of medium. Permittivity of the medium. Okay. Now just make a note of this, and then We'll go for conversion. Just pause the video and you can take a note. Okay, now in error vacuum it is F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. This is write as vacuum F or FVAC. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square. And if F in any other medium, MDM, I will write as MDM, it is 1 by 4 pi absolute permittivity, and it is Q1 Q2 by R square. Now I am taking the ratio of this F vacuum by F medium. F vacuum by F medium, it is 1 by 4 pi epsilon Q1 Q2 by R square and 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square, and these all will get cancelled. So what happens, see, this what it remains is 1 by epsilon by 1 by epsilon naught. This goes here and this comes here, this becomes F vacuum by F medium is epsilon. So this is epsilon naught and this is epsilon. So this is epsilon by epsilon naught. So now the force between the two charged particles in vacuum and the force between two charged particles in the medium. Now we got the ratio as epsilon, that is absolute permittivity of the medium, and permittivity of free space, epsilon by epsilon naught. So now this ratio, what is the ratio of what we observed here? The ratio of absolute permittivity of the medium to the permittivity of free space. We will be calling this ratio as relative permittivity of the medium. What will we call this as? Relative permittivity of the medium. What is the relative permittivity of the medium? Relative permittivity of medium is the ratio of absolute permittivity of the medium to the permittivity of the free space. That means air of vacuum. Here you might have noticed one thing. When we wrote the value of epsilon naught, there I wrote it as 8.85 10 power minus 12 Coulomb square per Newton meter square. Their units are there for this epsilon naught. That means this is having dimensions. And when you come here, this is the ratio. Epsilon naught is the ratio of E epsilon and epsilon naught. So for the ratios, we don't have any dimensions. So this is dimensionless. So now we understood for a medium, if a medium is there. So now we understood it is related to permittivity of the medium. And now by this we can find out, or we can calculate the interactive forces between the charges if they are placed in error vacuum or medium. So let us go with a small example here. Supposing the charges are placed in the water, whose relative permittivity is 80. So how to find out the force between the two charges now? The same charges Q1 and Q2 separated by distance r. How to find the force between the two charges means F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon. Now after, because the medium is there, I write epsilon. So here epsilon by epsilon naught is equal to epsilon r. So epsilon is equal to epsilon r into epsilon naught. So just instead of this epsilon, so write like this. We'll go for another step. 1 by 4 pi. Instead of this epsilon, I'm writing epsilon r and epsilon naught. And it is Q1 Q2 by r square. Yeah, it is in water. So here in this equation here, you know about this 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r square. What is this 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r square? It is the force between the charged particles when they are in air or vacuum. That is nothing but F. It means F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r square. So I'll write like this: F water is equal to F by, this is remaining, epsilon r is remaining there, so it is epsilon r. So F water is equal to F by Fr. So F water is, what is the value we give for R? It is 8. So by this answer you can understand one thing. When the charged particles are, when the charges are placed in the water, the force is reduced by 80 times. That means it is 1 by 80th of the force, F. So F of water is reduced to 1 by 80th of F. That means if you place the charged particles in any other medium with some relative permittivity, its force also reduces by that value. Okay, now let's take this. We're going to look here. In this video, we have learned about the charge. Just I'm recalling all these things. The charge, the units of charge, the SI unit is coulomb, and the CGS unit is ESU or stat coulomb. And 1 coulomb is 3 into 10 to the power of 8 stat coulomb. That value, just remember this. And next is we learned about the properties of charges. What are the properties of the charges? Charge does not charge about the depending upon the mass. The next one is the charge is quantized, and the other one is charge is conserved. The charge is invariant. All these are the properties of the charge. And then we talked about the Coulomb's law. This Coulomb's law is an important question for your board exam. Then they will be asking you to write about the Coulomb's law, the statement and explanation, all these things. Just as we have made it in your on the board, you might have copied in your notebook. Just mention all the things there. First, write the statement, the force between the 2 point charges at rest. Just don't leave those points. Between the point charges at rest is directly proportional to the product of the charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them, and acts along the line joining the two forces. That completely the statement should be there. And then make a small diagram, and Q1 and Q2 separated by distance r, and write the expression one after the other. F proportional to Q1 Q2, F proportional to 1 by r square, and F proportional to Q1 Q2 by r square, and then F is equal to K Q1 Q2 by r square. Now write about K. K is a constant, and the K, on what factors does this K value depend? K value depends upon the units what we are taking for F, and the charges Q1, Q2 and the R, and the second factor, that is it depends upon the properties of the medium. Okay, now and after that when we talked about this up to now it is only the magnitude. We have to tell about the direction. The direction of the force acting between the two charges will be always along the line joining, along, not on, you don't say it as the on, along the line joining the two charges. And if the charges are like, they will be pushed apart. If the charges are unlike, they will be pulled towards each other. Just mention that point. And this is about the magnitude and the direction, and up to there it is enough. And then if you should remember this is also regarding the K value. The K value is we can just take it for two things. One is when the charged particles are in free space, other one is the medium. When they are in this free space, it is taken as K is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Epsilon naught. This epsilon naught, what is this epsilon naught? It is permittivity of free space. Again, permittivity. What is permittivity? It is the capability of the medium to allow electric field lines. Okay, now epsilon naught value. Remember this epsilon naught value 8.85 10 power minus 12 Coulomb square per Newton meter square. Okay, and by substituting the value, you are getting it as 9 into 10 to the power of 9. And just you have to keep in the mind that this K value is 9 into 10 to the power of 9 in SI units. Suppose if it is CGS unit, what will be its value? This is a competitive exam question. If it is in CGS, the value will be equal to 1. If all the units of the force and the charges and the radius, the R value, the separation is taken CGS, the K value will be equal to 1. Just remember it. And keeping this in the medium, what happens? F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Epsilon means absolute permittivity of the medium, or simply it has permittivity of the medium. And about this epsilon, after writing over 1 by 4 pi epsilon q1 q2 by r square, just we came to know that epsilon by epsilon naught is equal to epsilon r. That means epsilon r, what is epsilon r? Relative permittivity. What is relative permittivity? It is the ratio of epsilon by epsilon naught, ratio of absolute permittivity and to absolute permittivity to the permittivity of free space. The ratio is called as epsilon r, and this is dimensionless. Epsilon naught is having dimensions, already we talked about it. And now we came to know that F in a medium is equal to epsilon by epsilon naught. Just keep this formula in your mind. F in a medium is equal to epsilon naught, epsilon by epsilon r. So by using this, you can understand that if you are placing any charges in a medium, and if the charges are in vacuum, suppose if here in error vacuum, if in the error vacuum, if it is x, the force is x, and if you are placing the charges in a medium with epsilon or some z, then what is the force in that medium? Fm is equal to x by z. Right, I told you it becomes 1 by 7th of the value. Okay, just keep this in your mind, and in next session we will meet with some more interesting things. Okay, stay home, stay safe. Thank you.